it's very important to determine, if you're in a suit contract or a no-trump contract. If you're in a no-trump contract, your lead choice may be different, most likely will be in many cases, than if you're in a suit contract. Then once you determine that, you have to determine what suit to lead, and then, of course, what card within the suit to lead. There's some basic guidelines, and I'm sure Susan went over this with you, but just to touch real quickly. If you're in a no-trump contract, what you're trying to do is to develop winners from length. So generally you want to lead from your longest suit so that you can make your 4s and 5s and 6s winning tricks, because if you lead that and nobody else is out, you'll win the trick. So in no-trump, the very best lead, 95% of the time, is a suit your partner bid. But a lot of times, your partner didn't bid. Another very good thing to lead is the top of a three-card honor sequence. This is in no-trump. Now, there's 3 types of honor sequences. There's the pure honor sequence, ace, king, queen, and some more cards. A broken sequence, king, queen, and you don't have the 3rd card, but you have the next one down. That's called a broken sequence. In no-trump, in either case here, you lead the top of the sequence. This is an interior sequence. Okay? In this instance, you would lead the queen. The queen, jack, 9 by itself is a sequence, but it's an interior sequence, so you lead the queen trying to knock out the king. All right? So you would lead the queen here. Now, in this instance, you don't have a 3-card honor sequence, so you resort to the 4th highest. So you would lead the 4th highest card here, the 4th highest card here, the 4th highest card here, in no-trump. Okay? So those are the best leads. People are asking what Boston means. Boston means bottom of something, top of nothing. Okay? This applies not only to the opening lead, but if you choose to lead a suit later in the hand, this is a good rule to go by. If you decided on the 5th round that you want to lead a new suit, and you've got the 8-7-4, you would lead the top of nothing. If you've got the queen, jack, 3-2, you lead the low card, the 2, the bottom of something, because you have the king and the jack. So it literally means that. If you decided to lead this suit, you would lead the king, the 3, the bottom of something, the 3, the bottom of something. That signals to your partner, hey, I have interest in this suit. If you have an opportunity to lead it again, that'd probably be a good choice. Top of nothing, 7-4-2, 8-7-4, you lead the 7. In this instance, in the 8 here, saying, partner, that's the highest card I have in the suit. I have no interest in that. No sense you leading that unless you have something in. If you do have 2 touching honors, though, you would lead the top one here. Okay? All right, now in a suit contract, it's different. Certainly, a lot of the rules apply. The best thing to lead, once again, is a suit your partner led, particularly if you have a singleton or a doubleton. Shortness in your partner's suit is a very good lead. Okay? If you don't have that, you would lead the top of a 2-card honor sequence. Now, why would it only be a 2-card sequence in a suit contract as opposed to the 3 of them?
Their chances right out.
Yeah, they're going to run out quicker in a suit contract, so you've got to build up your winners more quickly. All right? So you only would have to have 2. So in a suit contract, you could lead the ace, the king. You would lead this. Let's go back to this as a special case. You would lead the king here and the queen here. Okay? The 4th highest card, if you decide that you don't really have another really good lead, not one of those, you can pick the 4th highest card in a suit. Hopefully it has something in it. You can lead from shortness. We talked about that, particularly if your partner bid it. Okay? A doubleton, if your partner didn't bid it, is normally not that good a lead. A lot of people lead doubletons, but your partner's going to have to get in 3 times to give you a trump. Okay? So a doubleton's not that real good unless your partner has bid it. There's also 2 other things here, and we're not going to go into these too much, but if you're in a suit contract, you do have a choice of leading a trump. And we'll discuss that next week more than likely. Or once again, just keep in mind the bottom of something, top of nothing. If you have a doubleton, you lead the top of the doubleton. High, low, signaling your partner you have 2 cards. Okay? So if you're in a suit contract, what would you lead from that suit? You need a different suit. okay? You don't lead away from an ace in a suit contract, okay? So you've got to pick another suit. So just eliminate that one, unless you're part of it, okay? In a no-trump contract, though, you can leave the fourth card. So get that distinction clear in your mind. In a suit contract, the very worst lead you can make is away from an ace, because 98% of the time you're going to give away a trip. So do not lead away from an ace in a suit contract, okay? That's just a broad, general overview of what to lead. So let's put it into practice here. And I also want to show you how it's very important to listen to the bidding, because you can pick up a lot of information from the bidding. So for instance, here's the bidding. These are your opponents. They bid one no trump, your partner passed, then they bid three no trump, and then everybody passed. So that's pretty straightforward there, okay? So what do we know about this person right here? 15 to 17 points in a balanced game. What do we know about this person?
He doesn't have any majors.
What's that? How many points?
10.
Yeah, at least 10, probably not more than 15, or you'd be considering it a slam, right? Okay. How many, what else do we know about?
He doesn't have 4 or more majors.
He does not have a 4-card major, because if he had a 4-card major, he wouldn't have bid no trump there, he'd have bid what? He bid 2 clubs. He bid the Stamen Convention asking for a 4-card major. He has no 4-card major. Okay, you can keep bidding. Or a 5-card major, because he'd have transferred if he had a 5-card major. So you know this guy's heavy in the minor suits more so than the majors. So you know that from the bidding. You also know they have at least between them 25 points, at least, right? 10 and 15. They probably have 26, 27 points. How many points? This is your hand. Every hand I have up here is your hand, and you're going to lead, okay? How many points do you have? Okay, how many points your partner have? Well, is that enough? If they have the minimum 25 and you've got 5, how many does your partner have?
Could have 10.
10, okay? You can do that math. I know sometimes you get wrapped up in what's going on, but you can do that math. If you were sitting here with 10 points, how many would your partner have? 5. Does your partner have 2 aces?
No.
Okay, you can conclude things like that. Thank you. Okay, so here's the bidding. This is your hand. What are you going to lead? That one. The better lead here is the top of the 2-card sequence. Okay? Try to build that up right away. So you would lead the king of diamonds there.
I thought you were my veteran.
You are, but that's right. But it's the broken sequence. I'm sorry. So it's the king, queen, 10. That's this. So you lead the top of that. Okay? If you didn't have the 10 here, then you need the 8. Okay? If you have the king, queen, jack, or king, queen, 10, you lead from the top. If you don't, you just have 2. Thank whoever pointed that out to me. You lead the 4th highest. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. How about this one? Same situation. This is your hand. What are you going to lead there? 3 of diamonds. Okay, what's your longest suit? Your clubs. You lead the 4th from your longest suit. Longest suit. So you lead the 7 of clubs there. Now why the 4th highest? Why not the 3rd highest or the 5th highest or something like that?
Because you can use that rule to figure out how many there are.
Right, you can use, this is just a little bit off on a tangent, you can use what's called the rule of 11. So if you know your partner led the 4th highest, you don't always know it for sure, but you can assume like that's the 4th highest card. Then in the other 3 hands, you subtract that number from 11. There's 4 cards higher than that in the other 3 hands. Okay? Including yours. All right? Also, it gives your partner to count how many cards there are in that suit. You can figure out the distribution of that suit. So it's very important to consistently lead the 4th highest. All right? How about here? Same bidding sequence here.
Queens, no, 4 spades.
4 spades. Right. Yeah, you don't have a 3-card sequence. This is your longest suit, lame as it may be. So you need the 4th card here. You've got a pretty good, couple good owners there. And you know they don't have he doesn't have a 4-card major. about here? This is your hand here. Three spades. Who wants to lead the three of spades? Who wants to lead the three of diamonds? Same thing, right?
Yeah. But
Gen-
you know that he doesn't have.
Yeah, well, generally,
Many cards in the big.
right, and generally it's better to have almost the same holding. Opt for the major over the minor. Generally, people will bid majors if they have them, and sometimes minors never even get mentioned.
Why
So-
don't you bid three no trump?
What?
This is the lead.
What's that?
We're doing leads. Leads.
This is the
Oh,
lead.
that's lead.
This is the
I
lead
get it.
against three no trump.
Yeah, I get it,
Okay, so you're gonna lead the three of spades
yeah.
against. That's a guess. I mean, maybe she'll lead the three of diamonds. But when you're in a situation like this, you can't always know. So it's better generally to opt for the major suit. You've probably heard leave the unbid major. That's not a bad rule to fall back on. Okay? All right, well, let's change it a little bit. Get a little water. Okay, now the bidding is gone. Your team has passed. So they opened a spade, the partner bid two spades, passed. They jumped a game in spades. So they had a bunch of spades, right? They did it pretty aggressively. So you're probably what, gonna get your tricks pretty quick if you're gonna have some, would you think? Okay, so against four spades, what are you gonna lead here?
The two of clubs.
Two of clubs, okay? You're not gonna lead a spade because you have what may be the natural spade trick. Okay, ace and queen. You may lose it, but you could possibly win. Why would you not lead either of these two suits?
Now you're away from the
Yeah, you
ace.
don't ever want to lead away from the ace. These are the worst two possible ways. So by process of elimination, you need the deuce of clubs. Everyone see that? Okay, how about here? You're in four spades.
Queen
The
of,
best lead here is the queen of hearts, the top of the two cards. You actually have three suits there, but you have the queen jack. Okay, so I would lead this card. Now, why not lead one of these?
They're gonna run out.
You know, they'll run out before you can set them up. If you're playing no trump, you may opt for that. That's still okay, but this maybe is better in no trump, if this were no trump. Okay? How about here? Yeah, almost similarly, by process of elimination, you're going to leave the three of diamonds there. Don't lead away from the ace. You don't want to lead away from that. And you have three spades to the queen. Okay, now. This time your partner opens a heart. They overcall one no trump, and it's passed out. So your partner opened a heart, and this person did one no trump. Pass, pass, pass. We're playing one no trump here. Okay? What are you going to lead here?
Jack of hearts.
how about the jack? I could check.
Who wants to lead the jack of hearts? Okay, that's what I would lead. Okay, it's the suit your partner led. You have nothing else that really looks any good, right? And you want to show the length of your heart suit. So you need high low to show that you have two. Okay? How about here? Same thing. You would lead the top of the heart suit. Okay? That's what he bid. So that's the very best thing to lead. Suit your partner. Think about this. I'm sitting here, my partner's over there, and this is the person who has all the points. Okay, if I lead a low card to my partner's higher card, the person with the high cards has to decide first what to play. My partner gets to play after them. If I lead a high card, I've played the high card first. Now she can pick what she wants to play. So she's gonna, she has the choice. So you want to play toward your high cards rather than laying them on the table unless you have something that supports it. And by the way, if you lead an ace or a king, you should have the card right beneath it. There's going to be occasions with it that's not true. But pretty much in an open lead, if you lead in an ace or a king or a queen or a jack, you should have the card immediately below that card. right? Just don't lead your kings and queens, because guess what? They're gonna lay their ace or king on top of it, and you're gonna lose it. But if you get your partner to lead to it, you may be able to finesse the high card that's on the right side. At least you have a 50-50 chance of winning it. If you just lay it on the table, guess what? You're gonna lose, all right? All right, so let's go, where were we, over here?
So when you're doing this, are you assuming that's always in the fourth seat?
This is the opening lead, so.
No, I know, the guy, oh, I guess you're right.
Right, it's the opening lead. So the opening lead is the person to the
Yeah,
left of
bidding's
the
over.
center.
Question on that.
So then it's the second, it's this guy, if that guy has all the points, it'll be this guy.
Yeah, however it was, my point was you lead through the strength. You make the person who has the high cards play before
Right.
you're
So when
playing.
you're
Pretty
saying,
good time. If you're opening leader,
you're leading against no trump, at any rate, you'd be in this seat.
Right, so he's here, this is the dummy, so you would assume he has the high cards here, so you want your partner to lead the low card. Just like, it's gonna be different in every hand how it sets up, but the general principle is lead toward your high cards. That's how a finesse works. In a finesse, if you're holding that, okay, and you want to win a card with the queen, let's say you want to win a card with the queen, if you lay the queen down on the table, hoping this guy has the king, and he lays the king down, you didn't win the queen. You got one trick, which is what you were going to get anyway, all right? But if you lead toward the queen, and this guy has the king, if he plays it, you play low. Now you're acing your king again. If he doesn't play, you play the queen and you win, so you won two tricks. You cannot win with the queen by playing the queen first, unless you have the jack here. And you go to the jack. But if you have a naked ace and a naked queen, you have a 50-50 chance of winning if you lead a low card toward the queen. You have no chance of winning if you lead the queen first. Everyone see that? Okay. All right, we're partner bit of heart. Which one?
Third.
Okay, we're here. What do you want to lead here? And this is a principle I get confused a lot. Susan always explains it very well, so I'll give it my good shot. What do you lead here? We lead the four.
I lead the queen.
You lead the queen.
And this is no trump?
No, this is the spades.
This is
Does everybody agree we're going to lead a heart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The partner bid a heart, right?
Right?
The general rule is if you supported your partner's bid,
Oh, yeah.
then you lead the top one because he knows you have three. Okay, if you did the supporting, you show him the length of your hand, the length of your suit. And the way you do it here is by playing low. You play the four. Okay? That will show him you have either one or three, all right, based on your next play. It sort of goes back to this bottom of something here. Okay? So the best lead here is the four of hearts. I mean, none of those are wonderful, but he'll know you have one or three based upon that lead. Okay? I'm sorry? Does everyone understand that, why he'll know that you have one or three? Okay, when you have a doubleton, you lead down, like this. So he knows you have two. All right?
But how do you know if I lead a 7, is that high or low or in between?
Well, there's some degree of subjectivity to it, okay? And granted, if you have a singleton 7, you have to make judgment calls on it. And the more you play with the partner, the more you'll see her tendencies. But generally, if you have a doubleton, always leave the top one, because the next time the card plays, you're going to lay down the 6. Now, if you had this, and you lay down the 7, your partner's going to think you only have 2. Particularly when you play the 6 the next time. And then he's going to lead a card to you for you to trump, and you're going to play the 3. And he says, well, partner, I thought you only had a doubleton.
Now, I don't know why you're saying that they would know that you only have 2. I don't know that rule or something.
Well, it's not ironclad that he only has 2. He could have 3, he could
But
have
how
4.
does he know? But like the Jack 6.
It's impossible to know until the next cards are played.
The
all right?
general
But if
rule.
you do have 2, if you do have just 2, play the top one before the low, the higher one before the lower one.
I I understand that, but I'm not sure why you don't leave the 9 there with the queen 9-4.
Queen 9-4 here, what would the 9 signify, do you think?
Well, what worries me about that is that if you lead the 4, he takes his ace and king, and leads again, you've killed that suit if you're trying to run it.
Yeah, well, chances are,
They'll be
Yeah,
out.
it's not right.
The chances are that your partner has either the king or the ace. If he has the king, and the other person has the ace, now the queen's good. So you're still gonna get the trick, and you're also playing your partner's suit, which means you have.
right, believe me, there are probably as many situations where leading any one of those would be better than leading any other one. You don't know. So what you have to do, once again, it's subjective. It's like the best guess in a way. And so the best thing you can do here, and I agree with this, is give your partner what's known as an account signal. Granted, you could have the 4 and the 2. When you use that 4, the top of the doubleton, but when you leave the 4, your partner's thinking, okay, is that the top of a doubleton? Is it the bottom of something? He's going to be thinking these things. And then when you play the card the next time, it'll all become clear. Okay, now I know he had 3 of those, all right, rather than 2. So let's say you had the 4 and the 2, and you played the 4, and then the next time you get to play, you play the 2. He's going to read that as a doubleton. That's what he's going to think you have, all right? And you're holding this, and you leave the 4 there, and then the next time you play the 2, he's going to think you're out of hearts, and he's going to say the queens with the opponents. Okay. To me, if you'll remember, when I started talking about this, I said this is the hardest part of this for me to get my hands around, because it is so subjective, and as James has pointed out, there's all kinds of variations and different card layouts that were going to make that the wrong lead. Maybe this was the best lead. But when you're opening the hand, you have to make the best decision you can.
So on the second play of it, if he leads it back, he gets a queen, right?
You could. It probably is the right thing to do. The third hand would be behind it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, unless he takes the
Yeah,
leads the
I would
king.
probably play the queen, unless the situation, unless they've already played the king or something. Right. Absolutely.
Their partner
Yes.
probably doesn't have ace.
Oh, no, I was
They
just saying,
probably-
but what you're kind of going for is the odds that most likely.
Yeah, the one thing I hear, and I've been teaching some of these classes, is, well, what happens if this happens? Well, what happens if this happens? Well, what happens if this happens? Well, guess what? There's all kinds of hands we can make up which will defeat you no matter how rigidly you follow the guidelines and lay down. But things like the Stamen conventions and what card to lead and all of this have been proven over years and years and years and years to work 80, 85, 90% of the time. So just because you do the Stamen convention one time and you should have been in 3-note trump instead of 4 spades, don't say, oops, that doesn't work, I'm never going to use that again. That's not the right approach. If you get the opening lead right every time, I want to lead you because you're the best lead player in the world.
Will you explain that again, why not the queen of your partner's suit so he'll know where it is?
Well, if you have supported your partner's suit, then your partner knows you have at least 3 cards. So play the highest card you have. He already knows your count. He knows you have at least 3. Where you haven't been, you could have none, 1, 2, 3. Probably not 3. You've got, it just depends on the situation. So that shows him how many cards you have in the suit, the lower card, generally.
Okay.
All right? Okay, let's one more, then we'll go play bridge. So partner opens 1 heart, they overcall 1 note trump. This is your hand. Okay, to me, this would be the time that you can deviate from the rule. You have a powerful hand here. You're going to probably win at least 3 tricks in there. You've got another entry here with the king more than likely. So I would leave the queen of spades. And also, another reason not to leave that is you only have 1. How are you going to get back to him? He's going to have to keep playing. So in this instance, and it has to be pretty much this strong or this strong to do that, you've got a self-sustaining suit. Then you can lead your own suit. 95% of the time you're going to lead in no trump. You're going to lead the suit of the partner.
Oh, no trump.
In no trump, we're in no trump, right?
No, we're in suit. We're in no trump, you're right.
This is no trump.
Yeah.
Now, the illustration here is to lead your partner's suit. So real briefly, are we in no trump, are we in a suit contract? If you're in a suit contract, don't lead away from your honors. Don't leave your honors just laying on the table. Don't lead away from an ace. Try to find your partner's suit. And sometimes it's just a process of elimination. You have to just take the thing that looks the best. Sometimes you want to make a passive lead where it risks very little of giving anything away. When you lead away from high cards, you run the risk that you're going to give them a trip. If you lead away from the king, jack, you may give them the queen. So just be thinking about that. Okay, there's a lot more to go over on leading. Susan will be back next week and she'll continue this. And I'm sure if you have any questions on this, she can help you. So let's go. Let me give a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4,